Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Oh, I didn't get a thumbs up. Can you hear me out there? All right. My biggest fear is a fear of not being heard. So just had to make sure. Folks, I know it's been a long, full Agile day. Even if we love the Agilist and all of this, it's still a long day. Yes. And our apologies for not having coffee. Okay. And you say apology accepted, not so rude. You just say, we accept your apology. Thank you for hosting this event for us and whatnot. Okay. It's yes, it's always a pleasure to do it for you. So we should get started, but before we get started, do you want us to spin the wheel again? What? What? All right. So we know how this works. Virtual folks can win. In-person folks can win. Anybody can win. I can win also. Everybody's in it. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let's spin the wheel. You win the Agile Austin one-of-a-kind 27 only made ever water bottle and the shirt. And it is Teresa Spicer. Where are you? You got to be here to win. Are you there virtually? Are you there? Hold on, hold on. Going once. Teresa, I know you might have had to go pick up kids or life got in the way, but we'll have to spin again. Let's spin again. Do it. Drum roll. And we have Caitlin Russell. Woo! Oh my God. Not here, virtually. Hold on, we're checking, folks. Let's give Caitlin a chance, okay? We spin again. We're starting to lose me. Oh my God, let's spin again. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. And we have Kelly Durham. Where's Kelly Durham? Oh, you are here, Kelly. Okay. There you go. Don't come up now, Kelly. We got you. You get your water bottle today. We take your shirt size and we ship your shirt to you. Okay. That's it. Like, you don't want to do one last one? Are we done? Let's wait until we're done with everything. And if people are still here and hanging out, we'll spin a wheel again then. Okay. So folks, thanks for being here. And thanks for I've seen a lot of the speakers. I've seen a lot of people engaging and connecting, and it's just wonderful. It just feels in this post-pandemic world just to come and be around people and connecting with fellow Agilists is just awesome. It's just awesome. Thank you for being here and making it possible. Round of applause. Thank you. So, some of you might not know this, but Agile Austin has its own YouTube channel. We are so cool, man. We're so cool. And what we're going to do, and I wanted to inform you because sometimes you might today have 3 sessions going on at the same time, and you really wanted to watch all 3 of them, but you couldn't. Don't worry. We got you covered. Okay. We are recording everything, and we are going to make everything available for people that attended. You're going to have the access alone for it. It'll take us a few weeks to get it, but we'll restrict the access on our YouTube channel, and you will be able to see every session that was done today. Then we will make these sessions available for everybody on the channel about 9 months out. But I just wanted to mention it in case you were concerned about not having seen a session that you were interested in. Okay? No worries, folks. No worries. Now, we are taking a page out of the Oscar Hollywood space, okay? We want to recognize our own stars too, because, you know, there are people that have done so much for the Agile Austin organization, and we just like to give a quick shout out to these people. So there's mainly one person, but then there's 2 people, because one we recognized already before, but we want to do another shout out, right? Just because this person is really special like that. So the first Agile Austin member that I'd like to recognize is Ned Horvath. Come up, Ned. Come up. And you'll have to talk also, Ned. Yes. Ned was our 2023 Community Impact Award winner. So he got his plaque already. He's not getting another one today. Okay. But Ned is a longtime member and volunteer of Agile Austin. He's the former chief learning officer. Ned has facilitated our Agile Austin book club. I mean, how many Agile organizations even have a book club? But we have Ned here that has been doing it for how many years, Ned? That's how long. That's how long. Yeah. And Ned is actually in the process of moving out of town to Minnesota. Yes, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he will still be able to do the book club virtually, but not having a round of applause. You can still continue to do it. And he wants to. But not having Ned here in Austin, we just wanted to give a shout out. You have your award plaque already. You have a KAA shirt, but you don't have the one-of-a-kind special edition water bottle. We've got one for you, Ned. Ned, would you like to share a few words with our guests?
I can't possibly match up with Max's eloquence, so no.
Hey. Oh, I love you too, Ned. I love you too. So thank you, Ned, for everything you've done in the Agile Austin Book Club and beyond. 2023 Community Impact Award winner. Now, the next one, we named the Longevity Servant Leader. So I've been part of Agile Austin since 2010, and I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've seen people get really active, and then I'm like, where are they? Are they still alive? What happened? Then they pop up again and really active and then leave. And so when you see someone that was active from the very start, there were 3 people that founded Agile Austin in 2007. This was one of them. This person was also first president, was involved in the first open space conference, education chair, Agile Austin chair, treasurer, and continuously, and even volunteered at so many of the causes. There is something about people like this that started something and were in it for 15, 16 years and helped create what it is now. We're an organization that is incredibly financially stable. We will be around for years to come, whether you like it or not. Okay. And a lot of it is due to our people that are engaged and volunteer. And I would like to say to Scott Killen, come up here, Scott. Round of applause for Scott. Come stand with me, Scott, because I've got to say something real quick, okay? And I'll just paraphrase this with just a story of us two. We were at breakfast, Snooze on Lamar and 38th Street, a couple of years ago. And in the middle of the breakfast, we were not agreeing on something, which happens sometimes between us. Yeah, mostly because of your fault. Yes. And so in the middle of it, Scott just looks at me and he's like, Max, why are you shouting at me? And it dawned upon me right there that we are like that group that has been together for so long, that extended family, that we are there for the same common purpose, that no matter what happens, we're there for each other and we're there for Agile Austin, but we can psychologically safe environment, say, express ourselves in all way. Now, he deserved to be shouted at, but that to me showed me how deep we go. And Scott, I just want to say that I've loved every instance and interaction that I've had with you. We're both on the board of Agile Austin, me as president and you as treasurer. And the fact that you are retired from professional life 2 years ago plus, and 3, sorry, I miscount. Yes. And now you're going to retire from Agile Austin as on the board. You will still be around, but we understand that this is a transition that was long coming, and you are leaving us in really a good position for something that you created back in 2007, and you've been involved all along. And I would like to say thank you with, don't move, with a plaque for your retirement award, but for your longevity. Folks, Scott Killen, there you go.
So it's really an honor to be here. Thanks, Max. I hadn't planned on saying this, but I want to announce to each of you about the book club, something you may not know. If you're a member of Agile Austin and you attend book club discussions, we pay for your book. So it's $35 to join Agile Austin, and I've paid hundreds of dollars of books to people that have participated in the book club. Free books. So if you want to participate in a book club on agility, join Agile Austin, you get all your books free. I had a feeling that Max was going to do this to me, drag me up on the stage. And it is true that I have been in a leadership role in Agile Austin from the very first day of foundation, the very first day to the present day, almost 17 years later. I must say it has been the single most consequential investment in my career I've ever had. It's much, much, much more valuable than all the 3-letter initials that I can put after my name. Really, it's true. I've gotten 2 jobs because I've been in a leadership position in Agile Austin. I've established my personal brand and credentials. I've met local, regional, and national visionaries in agility. It's really been amazing how the power of Agile Austin can open doors for you. And I like to think, I hope I think, that I've made a difference in the software community that I serve, that I've made a difference in the teams that I've coached, that I've made a difference in the people that I've taught, and I've made a difference in the conferences that I've spoken at. But for me, I mean, this is kind of an emotional thing. It's my time in life to step back. I got grandkids and I need to attend sporting goods and sporting events, and it's just time for me. But it's your time to step forward, and I encourage you to do it. Agile Austin is a thriving organization because of the passion of people like Max and the volunteers here, other people that have really contributed to their heart and soul, and they've benefited from it. We have elections coming up for the board. We hardly ever have contests, and we have difficulty getting people through this, but the power of Agile Austin is you can call up anybody in the country that's a visionary in Agile and say you're with Agile Austin, and they'll talk to you. They will, every single one of them. We have directorship positions for our support teams that are open. We have special interest groups that you can lead that in areas like QA or product ownership or other areas that we sometimes struggle to fill. Or, and I'm not speaking out of turn here, you can invent your own way to participate. If you're passionate about something, you bring it to the board and say, hey, I want to do something. And if it aligns with Agile value, not only will they encourage you to do it, they'll fund it for you. They will actually fund whatever it is you want to do. And so with that, I just want to say I did want to ask a question. Raise your hand if you got one of the books from my library that was on the shelf out there. Free, who got a free book? So since I've retired, I'm not consulting or doing anything else. You got my library. It's distributed to the whole group here. I hope you enjoy it. And finally, my last words are to all my friends and colleagues, it's been a real privilege to work and learn from you. I've learned so much. Thank you.
And we got your bottle for you too. Scott Killen, folks, Scott Killen. Thank you, folks. And now, shall we get on to our last thing of the day? We're going to have a panel discussion. Okay. First, I'd like to invite up the panelists, Bob, Blake, and Samit, as we are going to talk about looking forward, some call to actions for people that have participated. There you go. Is it good? Round of applause for our panelists, folks. Thank you. Come over. There you go. Okay, so why don't we start with some introductions? Okay, let's start this way and pass the mic as you introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Hi, Samit Mehta, local guy, went to UT Austin. I've been in Austin for now about 15 years. Before that, we moved to Dallas and to San Francisco Bay Area, but happy to be back here. So glad that one of my other passions at this group is something I can also enjoy. So looking forward to that. I've been doing mostly focused on deploying solutions around systems and software engineering in my earlier part of the career. Now I'm focused mostly on scaled agile framework type deployments along with tooling.
Hi, everybody. I am Blake McMillan. I'm a professional Scrum trainer, consultant, coach at Improving. And at Improving, we've got an office here in Austin. I'm from the Dallas office, but I love my Austin office people. Get to come down and visit them. I also have a connection to the Agile Austin folks because we do this thing called the Texas Agile Roundup. I'm a organizer of DFW Scrum. DFW Scrum is like a little teeny version of Agile Austin that doesn't do all the cool stuff that Agile Austin does. So like, as I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, I got to talk to them because that sounds really cool. I want to do that with DFW Scrum. So I have connected with those folks, just really have enjoyed my interactions with them. Yeah, that's me.
And maybe one day we can have a Texas Agile conference.
Hi, and I'm Bob Galen, Agile Moose. I've been in Austin for exactly 22 hours, 13 minutes. And no, I've been here a few times. What else? Just do coaching. I met you this morning. So let's go for it.
Let's do it. So folks, we definitely want to take some questions from the folks on the virtual side, show some love to y'all. We're going to start with one question up front, but start to ask your questions if you're there virtually. Then maybe we'll take some from the room also. And then happy hour. We're going to hang out, happy hour, have some fun time, and then call it a night. So this is a pretty long phrase. You can see it there on that screen. So we want to do a bit of a call to action as you leave and you look forward. Like, what are some of the recommendations that we can give out there to the people that are here today about having to leverage that agile mindset to grow in this ever-changing environment to where there's AI and globalization, etc., but to grow in a way that is around that customer-centric value delivery. Like we have a goal at Agile Austin that we really want to bring it back to some of the basic Agile principles and values and say, how can we use this to deliver value faster and better? So could you please just tell us about what you'd have in mind on this? Oh, they want Bob to start. Bob spoke all morning long at the keynote. You can.
It's okay. I think of two phrases. One is, and I didn't mention it this morning, is you realizing that all of you are a brand, and to think about personal branding. Jeff Bezos says your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So that's what you're setting it. You're not putting it on paper, but it's what they say about you. You don't want them saying, "Well, Bob is an agile coach," and that's it, or Bob is a scrum master. You want them saying more than that, more nuanced than that. I also think you can look at yourself as a product. I get torn by this sometimes, right? So I've talked a lot about product ownership. So I get a little bit torn, but I think it's the right metaphor too. So you are a brand and you are a product. So what are you doing to maintain yourself? What are you doing to grow yourself? What are you doing to make yourself more relevant? So whether you like it or not, you are a product, I think, and you are a brand. So take that out of here.
I want to echo something that Bob's talking about, where I think we all need to be thinking about value, right? Like just being a coach, like, okay, cool. What value did you produce, right? Like with that time that you spent with your teams, with that time that you spent with the organization, make sure you're capturing your value, because I can just look out here and just give me a show of hands. How many people have produced some value as a coach or a team member? Come on, raise your hands.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Like, we haven't, Blake. What's it like? Like, all right. So no, this is good. This is good. Everybody raise their hands. But what I want you to make sure that you're doing is capture it. Tell your story. Like, make sure that you're able to capture some of the value that you've produced. That way, when you get into that situation where you know it's time to make your move, you've got this like plethora of like examples that you can show of how you've helped teams, how you've helped organizations. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's spot on, if I may say, because I have experienced too many times when us agilists get caught in our like words that we use that we geek out on, and we talk about story points in front of the business, and they look at us and they're like, when do you estimate we'll get this? Well, we're talking about between this sprint and that sprint and story point and velocity and this, like, try to communicate in a way your value and things that other people can understand, right? And that goes with that value. Like, they say, "Oh, I'm a scrum master." It's like, how do you help us deliver value? Tell us, right?
So my experience with some of the companies has been that there's a sort of an internal focus that you start to see over time in organizations. They get along well with each other. They become very good at agile, and but they start focusing on themselves, and that is an area that I find just ends in a format where they're not customer centric anymore, and to kind of change that, especially in a larger organizations that are building very complex products, that becomes very common. And that's the kind of area that I deal with a lot, so I get discouraged. And what I tell them is, find innovative ways of you may not have the ability to go face to face with your customer, but find innovative ways to get that customer feedback in early into your cycle, and understanding what you think is valuable to them may not be, and what you find out is later, and by the time the product goes out and it fails, or it's not doing as well as you thought. Well, that's kind of where I would focus on, is go back to, are you getting that feedback cycle early in your life?
No, the Samit, yeah, that is beautiful, especially because it appears to be either very challenging or it's not a key thing for a lot of teams and companies to do. Measuring the value that is delivered. If you put, I'm like an MVP out there, before you build the rest of it, find a way to measure. Are people clicking on it? Are people actually going through the whole transaction of whatever software you put out there, instead of going through the whole thing and having to deploy it all, right? Thank you. So this was our question to start with. this is a very interactive and Q&A thing. So now this might have given you some time to think about and brainstorm about some questions. I see a hand up there that already went up before I even asked for questions. I think the slide kind of triggered you, right? But hold on. Yeah, yeah. Where's your water bottle? We'll get you your water bottle. We are a known entity here at Agile Austin. But we would like to give some love to our virtual folks first. Okay, so do you see any questions coming from the virtual space? Chase? Ooh, they're going back to a comment from this morning. Way to go. You see, the virtual people have wanted to ask this for like 7 hours. They're going to be, Bob, tell me more about that, Bob.
So
Oh, repeat the question. Chase, next time, could you tell me to repeat the question? Okay, thank you. So, people virtually wanted some feedback and follow-up on Bob's comment from this morning about 80% of Scrum Masters not being good at what they do, skilled. Please, Bob.
So thank you for asking that question. And the good news is folks are listening. So I really appreciate that. What I'm trying to say is I think a lot of folks, and it's not just personal. I think the certifying bodies are part of it. The training bodies are part of it. There's this notion of I go to get it. I take a 2-day class and therefore I am something. And for example, in one company, I used to not send Scrum Masters to a certification class. I used to ask them to operate in the role for like 6 months to a year. And then if they wanted to go to a class, go to 5 classes, whatever it is, but have that raw experience. What the 80% to me is really, you need chops. And I hate to break the news to everyone. You need real world experience chops, and you need to be relentlessly learning and refining and growing those chops. When I see a Scrum Master, I see an Agile coach. That's the way it's been for me for 20 years. If someone says I'm a Scrum Master, I'm not a coach, I'm like, that's great. But I look at you and I'm like, you're a Scrum Master coach. And I try to say it as fast as possible. Now, you may not have the coaching skills that I do, but you have a responsibility in your role to have coaching and to grow those skills over time. So that's what I was trying to communicate. It wasn't a negative. I don't see a lot of folks. I think I see a lot of folks who are complacent, and I've achieved something. I guess that's what I was trying to say. I am a Scrum Master based on this, and I think there's more. I want relentless learning. If there's something I want you all to leave here with, again, unless you want to, maybe get laid off, or you want to, or you have another career in mind, or something,
Add value,
or not, then don't do that. But if you want to stay in this space, and with AI and things, it's getting more challenging, then I think you have to take ownership of your branding and your personal learning. So that's really the 80%. And it makes me sad that I see that I'd like to report that that's a lower number, if you will, or that folks are relentlessly looking for that. So thank you for asking.
Can I add on? This thing that I've noticed is and again, I'm going to canvas you, right? So look around when I do this. As a Scrum Master, how many of you have facilitated a Scrum event? All right, cool. How many of you have helped a team create a definition of done? Oh, thank you for those hands. I love seeing that. How many of you have pushed against a team that created a sprint goal of do all the stuff? Okay, I love seeing those hands. And I see double hands. Thank you. Yes. So these are some things that you can learn, but again, you've got to practice. You come to a 2-day class, you get your head filled up with crazy sauce, and you're like, I'm going to go do some stuff, right? But then you've got to put it into practice. And it's not just about setting up meetings, because now they're virtual. So it's even easier. We don't have to book a room, because that used to be a challenge, right? But we don't have to do that anymore. We just send out a Zoom invite. So that's not our calling. right? As scrum masters, as coaches, it's not to be meeting admins. That's not our calling. Our calling is to help people focus on those things that we started with. How do we deliver value for our customers? How do we get feedback sooner? How do we help us get better at doing the work that we do? Yeah.
A real quick follow-up. A part of it too is impediments. One of the things I notice, it may be just my runway over time, over a couple decades, but team impediments are like 20% of the problem. I'm going to use the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, right? The real impediments to me are more organizational or more leadership. So you can have a team that's uncovering an impediment, but coaching the team doesn't necessarily, sort of resolve the impediment. So as a scrum master, who I see a coach, you may have to work systemically. If that makes sense, organizationally, you may have to occasionally coach a leader or go into that space. That's part of the responsibility. That's part of the role. Now, in the beginning, you may not be there. So go get a mentor, go get a coach, pair up with another scrum master who's good at that, but start resolving that, because all of the work is not just teamwork, is what I'm saying. There's some outward activity that you have to do in order to successfully support your team.
That's right.
And I think that something that we've been talking a lot about in the Agile Austin community, and it's important to stay positive as we talk about it. Sometimes people have a reaction of saying, oh, all these certifications and all these process frameworks and all this stuff like that. But I like how we're talking about it here, is that you need the experience. You need others, and the certifications and the process frameworks can help you deliver value also. But sometimes we've gone down a certain direction a little bit too much, and we lose that fact of like, we need a lot of the experience and that agile mindset along with the certifications and the process frameworks and stuff. But to keep it balanced and positive, sometimes we get into hating, like, oh, look at the 70 certifications connected to this process framework, and we just hate. Let's find a good balance, right? If we're done with this question, is there another question on the virtual side that, okay, that was voted on? Then we'll go back to the water bottle winner. Yes. Oh, yeah. And just in case
Repeat
the
the
virtual
question,
people
Max.
did not, yeah, thank you. I can be thought. Yes. So for the virtual folks, the question was around, how can you get feedback about the perception that other people have on your brand? Bob?
I'll give it a shot.
Uh-huh.
So just help him out, because he's been doing a lot of talking. Right? No, but I'm sure he'll help me get he'll help me get better with my answer. So the one of the things that I have seen very helpful is actually getting a sort of a survey out, like almost like a regular basis for all team members, not just for yourself, on what are the things that you like, what are the things that you don't like about what I do, and what are the things that I can improve on. Or the second one should be actually phrased as, what can I improve on? Very similar to things that you do at the end of a scrum, right? It's similar things, but now focused on individuals. This you don't have to do as often as every sprint, right? You do it every month, every year, every 6 months, whatever your culture accepts around that kind of survey. But it's super helpful, because you get not only the view for just yourself, but also the whole team gets to hear how you could improve, how everyone can improve.
So yes. And I would say, talk to your leader, your manager, and ask them, brand, and get some. So I would hope that they're coaching you. So it was a hope. It was a hope that they would be or ask them for coaching, or find a coach and find a mentor, or mentors and coaches either in your organization or outside of your organization, and start developing that awareness. I think it's a self-awareness. So surveys can help with that. Asking trusted colleagues can help with that. Makes the surveys anonymous depending on the safety of the organization, but you want feedback. I think the key point is to get as much feedback as you can. The other thing about personal branding is I would say be proactive in getting out there. Like one of the things I love to see, like Scrum Masters and coaches do, Scrum Masters, is facilitate outside your team. If there's an all hands meeting, right, that's happening, raise your hand and say, I would love, facilitation is my middle name. I'm Bob Facilitation Galen. Let me facilitate that session, right? And get out there and show your chops are not just downward into the team. Get your chops out there, or help, volunteer for a group, an initiative, an event, a morale event, etc. So start building your brand outside of the team, if you will. But look for things like that and get feedback and increase your self-awareness. I would look at brand building as something like it's small steps. It's not something you're going to accomplish it. You're always brand building. But start it. And you shook your head and said, your boss isn't. Well, then they need some feedback. They need some radical candor to be accepted. Exactly. They should be and have them give me a call. I have a book that I could send them to help them with that. So
You're good.
And if I may just add really quickly, what I discovered in my professional career, that sometimes I would come up with ideas, and people's feedback on your ideas is a perception also of you. And people just look at me as if I have two heads. I'm speaking a foreign language. But then I would come to Agile Austin at an event and I would share that same idea and people would connect with me. So sometimes you really have to get your feedback from a variety of people, because sometimes the ideas that I brought up in my organization or company would challenge the status quo. They would challenge the present command and control status and everything. So that actually happened for a very long time. And so it's like being part of Agile Austin was therapeutic also. Thank you. Yes. Next question. Oh, there you go in the front. It's all you. Cool. And for me to,
Oh yeah.
well, you see, like,
please repeat
you
the
mind?
question.
do you mind? Thank you. Virtual folks, I'm here for you. Question was, what are ways to measure your intangible values?
You just said it though, which was cool, right? Because I love it when people ask a question and then they kind of like say, and the impact, right? It's the impact, right? These immeasurable things, they have an impact, right? So when you coach people, like let's take something like collaboration, right? Collaboration, like increased collaboration from 25% to 62%. Then that's when we start to find out 70% of all statistics are completely made up.
Yes.
But what's the impact of that, right? The impact of that collaboration might be that we're producing solutions that our customers like more. The collaboration could be that our technical prowess is starting to increase, where we have people, when they go on vacation, the team doesn't melt because they've learned how to work around an absence. So I think getting into some of those intangibles will require you to think about what's the impact of those intangibles. Yeah.
Go ahead. No.
I mean, I would say, I almost cringe when you said intangibles. My initial reaction is make them tangible. And so the next step I would say is I'm thinking about, folks talk about measuring value and showing value and explaining value. I'm starting to think about confirming value with the people who are determining the value. So I would say meet with your sponsors, your stakeholders, look them in the eye. Do not send an email. Do not show them Jira. Do not show them trending. No velocity, no flow point, none of that
Story
stuff.
points.
And look them in the eye and say, what outcomes can I share with you? How can we measure? And I also think the discussion is we or shared versus me. And how can I assist you in meeting whatever objectives, value, goals, OKRs, whatever you have? And then we measure them together. So try to turn it into the tangible and then go back and reconfirm face to face on some period. So I want to look someone in the eye and say, you know, are we on track? Have I delighted you? Right? In fact, I like that language of have we knocked it out of the park? I don't want to just hit I know I'm using a sports metaphor. I don't want to hit singles I want home runs with you. I'm here to coach in home runs. So how do we do that? Now it gets really challenging. You may have 3 or 4 sponsors. So you have to have that discussion with those 3 or 4 sponsors to figure out what that value proposition is, but then reconfirm and then be open-minded. If they say, you know, that wasn't quite what I was looking for, then don't, you know, sometimes we get stuck in agile gobbledygook. Like we have our goals as opposed to their goals. No, we need to, it's not about us. It's about us leveraging our agile chops to help the business achieve its goals. So then you may have to pivot is what I'm saying with them. And we may have to do some pivoting and things like that. So I hope, so it's sort of having that iterative loop and confirming, and they are relatively intangible. They're being measured. Very often leaders are being measured intangibly as well. So join them to some and make it as tangible as you can.
Yeah. And Bob, something that you brought up about, you know, making them tangible, but at the same time, you also said to check in with people because sometimes value is it's a perception. Because people can say like, these were the stories that we delivered exactly what you asked us. And yet I can't really use it. So it is, you have to continuously, you said it, check in with people. Is the outcome what you were expecting? Because it is so much about perception. Doesn't matter if you hit the OKRs, the KPIs, and story points and velocity. Did you perceive that value? Oh, sorry, it's Grand Slam. Yes. Okay. I've got to catch up on my baseball terminology. Yeah. But we're done. We're good with that. No more questions from the virtual side. Oh, there are. Let's take one more question from the virtual side. Okay. We got to show people love out there. And we have 4 minutes left, folks. Yeah. How can a company adopt an agile mindset beyond just the practices? I see people already getting excited up here, right? Okay. And this will probably be our last question, maybe one last one from the room, and then we break. Okay. Yes. This could be like a whole conference. Yes.
I'm going to start with 3 words. I'm going to hand the microphone one of these directions. Focus on your, because I can't count, customer.
Say that again, Blake.
Focus on your customer. 3 words. It's really 4, but I suck at math.
Yes.
Yeah,
Customer.
sure. So really, I mean, this is, as you can tell, I'm passionate because that's what I talked about. It's, you know, the customer facing things, the outcome focused is so important for any organization to continuously grow and become that competitive organization that that is needed to survive, you know, and that any company that's not doing it, we see not only results from their you know, external results, but also internally the people working there are demotivated. They want to leave. They don't want to be there. That's the culture that they're fostering when there's no real customer focus, and so it comes into throughout that thing. So I think the beyond practices, I would say it's the value of people internally and value of your customers. Those are the two things I would focus on.
I forget, there were two speakers this morning, Leland and another young woman, and they were Natalia, and they talked about what you approve or culture shaping. And at the top was what we celebrate and then what we tolerate. And it was as leaders. So I think part of the transformation is leaders need to go first. They need to have culture shaping responsibilities, and their behavior shapes everything. So safety, we can talk about psychological safety. Who's creating the ecosystem for that? Leadership, at least to me, agile leadership has an accountability for that, or they can suck the oxygen out of the room depending on their behavior and do that. So if we really want to set that up, it's this customer, it's even, sort of the value focus and the customer focus. Are leaders walking their talk? I continually think of leaders go first. I think it was Simon Sinek that has talks around that, or leaders eat last. He's a book about it. And I really resonate with that. We need to start putting teams in front and leaders behind, leading from behind. And that's another part of this transformation. We're focusing too much on teams. We should be focusing on the leaders of those teams and holding them or accountable, not hoping, but hoping that they inspire the right mindset.
One more thing.
And I think
accepting also that you don't know. And to me, that's one of the things that, like, I'm going to be decisive and I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. No, you're not. Like, you don't know. And so that's also why we want to do small bits of work, right? Because we think we know, right? But then we hand it to our customer and they're like, meh, yikes, that sucks. I want better than meh. I want the home run or the grand slam. Max, what do you got?
wow, we're having so much fun. It's unfortunate we've got to end this. But I would like to say this last topic really highlighted a big part of what the conference was about. Because in order for us as Agilists to really step it up a notch, we wanted to focus on the fact that to us, Agile is a mindset. First and foremost, some people might call it a methodology, some people might call it a process or whatever. When we were putting this all together, we said Agile is a mindset. And with this mindset, we can grow. We can grow above all the challenges that we've talked about. And we hope that by people coming today and talking about it, we learn and grow together. Okay. And with that, a round of applause for our panelists.